The Bostonian is Matt Perrault.
This is our city.
The book is Dave Sharapan.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
Together, they are The Bostonian versus The Book.
You covered! You covered 12! I covered!
Follow the show on Twitter at Boston versus The Book.
How do you like them apples?
Bringing you the best insight on sports betting news, Matt and Dave's daily picks, and an entertaining and unfiltered dive into the sports betting industry. Here's Dave Sharapan and Matt Perrault.
And here we go.
What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into October 30th, the day before Halloween. It is Devil's Night version of the Bostonian versus the Book. Dave Sharapan, Matt Perrault. We are loaded today with guests, guys. We don't normally do three, but we have three scheduled for today on a Whale Watch Wednesday being presented by SportTrade. We're live on YouTube at Boston versus the Book and on Twitter X, replayed on SportsGrid TV, Sirius XM channel 159. Dave, today's going to be fun. We got a lot of good stuff coming today. How are you?
Today's going to be great, and I need it because I got the share a van towed today. It's at the shop right now. You deal with that the first thing in the morning. You're like, what's going on here? Flatbed showed up, took the van. I was at the shop. Let's make sure this thing works again so we can coordinate cars. But listen, the show goes on. It doesn't stop. We got, does anyone still call it Devil's Night, by the way?
I mean, I'm a kid of the 90s, so I watched The Crow, the original version, not the new version, the original version, the 90s version of The Crow. Maybe the best music soundtrack of all time.
Pause. I don't know about that.
For a kid in the 90s, The Crow's soundtrack is GOAT. Like, it's up there. Like, it puts Rocky IV in competition type of.
Slow down.
Slow down. Not even slowing it up. It's unbelievable. Have you seen The Crow, the original?
No.
Oh, how do you not? Oh,
what is it? What is it? What, a movie?
Oh, it's an amazing movie. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Yes, fantastic Sonic. Yes, 9 Inch Nails, Dead Souls. I mean, everything. You had Biohazard on that soundtrack. You had, helmets on that soundtrack. That soundtrack is unbelievable, unreal for a kid of my. Oh, so good.
All right,
so
I'll take your word for it. I'll have to watch.
It's all based on Devil's Night. It's all based on tonight.
Okay,
the whole movie. Right.
Not a big fan. Never was.
He dies. He comes back. It's all.
Yeah, it sounds already. You lost me.
It's so good.
I'm into real stuff, not fake stuff. But anyhow, we got real people on today. We got Anthony from SportTrade.
Got the boost. Yeah, the boost is coming on, looking like he's from a league of their own.
We'll have him on in a second. Yeah.
What movie am I thinking of that he's wearing the full Yankee gear?
I was hoping
Angel in the Outfield.
Either way, he's coming on. We got Adam coming on from NFL Network.
Yeah.
Great story how that all came about. And then I really hope that Hall of Famer jockey Mike Smith is going to, hit the mark with us, take the ride with us in the BVB brigade. Because I got a couple questions teed up for him, not just about this weekend, but about his past and how a 59-year-old guy just still gets on a horse and rides with these young kids and stuff. I got to ask him the secret. So, yeah, this is going to be an electric, fun show. So buckle up, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I ask every day. We're growing slowly. We're trying to push further along. Just November will be here before you know it. And,
it's Friday. November is Friday.
In fact, we'll be in California. Thank goodness.
We'll be at Del Mar for a road show on Friday. Looking forward to getting over there. We will be at the track at Del Mar for the Breeders' Cup, the first day of the races. As Dave mentioned, Mike Smith, the Hall of Fame jockey, should be joining us at some point during the show in about an hour to talk about everything going on, the races, the experience, what people are going to see, watch, bets, and whatnot. So we got that all coming at you coming up later on today for about an hour from now, talking with Mike Smith. But we will be live from 1 to 3 Pacific time, 4 to 6 Eastern time on Friday from Del Mar. It's our first ever show from an actual sporting event. Somebody pointed that out, saying, wait a minute, you guys have never gone to an actual sporting event. I said, wow, that's true. We have never done that.
Right. We've been in books. We've been in bars.
Yeah.
We've been in media centers. for the Super Bowl.
We've been at the shoulder of an event like the Super Bowl. It's not the actual game, but this is an actual going on event, sporting event happening while we're on the air.
It's crazy. And people are reaching out to me at Sports Beat Cake and Sig with like ideas, thoughts. Hey, you want to talk to this guy? You want to talk to that guy? DM the show at Boston versus the Book, and we'll see what we can do. We've been pretty loaded. I mean, but send the plays. And
yeah.
I got one confirmation already today that they will be at the show with us. Tommy Lorenzo.
Oh, good.
Sent a text this morning and said he's off work on Friday. He thinks it'll be great to drive down. I think the 5. He's coming down the 5 freeway, and he'll meet us at the track. So he'll be there. So that's good. And if anyone else wants to come by, obviously you'll be on the show in a different type of roll call Friday, like you said. It'll be different.
Be different. So we may do roll call Thursday tomorrow, depending on what happens tomorrow. So we'll do all of that coming up. It is a well-watched Wednesday, so we got Boost coming on here in just 1 second.
Yep.
Before we get to that, let's talk about what happened last night. He's all excited. His team stayed alive. 11-4 win, thanks to the kid from Manhattan. Hits a grand slam last night.
Story.
Kind of a storybook type of moment for him last night to give the Yankees life here in Game 5 tonight.
Unreal. That was good. Started early, and then they got that hit. The grand slam kind of like, I don't want to say it woke them up because they've been in the games. They just haven't got the big hit. And it was someone else, not named Judge, Soto, or Stanton. That's a big lift for the team.
Sure.
That's a big, big lift for the team, and they got enough outs on the mound, pieced together. Again, you see Leiter. Yankee fans are like, no, we can't. Well, he's fine. Got a couple outs, big outs. They keep the ball in the ballpark. You think we're going back to Cali?
I don't know, because Dave Roberts punted the game. So he didn't throw any of his big arms. So I don't know. I mean, I think tonight a gentleman's sweep feels very likely to me.
So I do Sports Grid last night with Wetzel, and he hits me with this one 24 times. Team went up 3-0 in the World Series.
Right.
21 times they swept. 3 times it went to 5 games.
Right.
0 times it went to 6 and 7.
In the World Series, right.
In the World Series.
Yeah. Getting one is getting one. And I thought Dave Roberts did a good job of it. I mean, he basically said, okay, you guys can have it. Like, I'm not going to throw my big arms. I'm not going to waste my guys. We're going to be loaded tonight. If the Dodgers get a lead tonight, it's over. Yankees better score first.
I don't know if it's over, but I mean, it feels that way.
They're lined up. The Dodger bullpen is lined up. And look, 11 runs is great, but 11 runs with, late home runs against guys who shouldn't be in the game. Okay. Like Gleyber Torres goes deep late last night against an arm that won't see the field tonight.
Garrett Cole against Jack Flaherty. Yankees are minus 135, 140, 145. It's all over the place right now.
How about Freeman?
All over the place.
6 in a row.
Can't explain this.
7 tonight? Did you bet it?
Oh, man. I don't know. This has to make. I mean, like, if you bet it and lose, you can't say a word.
No,
you can't say, he hit it to the wall. I got rotten. No, he just did it 6 times in a row in a World Series. Like, this is the ultimate jumping in on a craps table after hitting 17 points in a row.
Right.
Where they hit the 8, they hit the 10, they hit the 5. All the numbers on the craps table have been hit. And you're like, man, they are having so much fun over there. I'm going to go do it right now. And I'm going to bet the Freeman did a home run prop. And he goes 0 for 4. He's the MVP, though. It's not even a question, right?
If the Yankees win, he's not.
Well, I mean, if the Dodgers win tonight.
Freeman's the MVP, without a doubt. Yeah, no question. But you have to caveat that. You have to couch that. I mean, they're still alive. They're not dead. Rizzo's like, we started the year winning 4 games in a row. We're going to end the year winning 4 games in a row. Okay.
Listen, you got to say it to believe it.
Of course.
Right? I mean, you have to say it to believe it. I wouldn't expect anything less. That's exactly the mentality you want.
I know Dodger fans want them to win it in LA, but I wouldn't give the Yankees the belief because then it's all on game 6. Because if you don't win it in 6, You don't want game 7.
Hell no.
You don't, because game 7 means, you're in trouble. Like, in trouble in game 7.
Series prices 10-1, 9-1. You got to lay on the Dodgers. A 3-game take back plus 650, plus 675. I don't know if you could roll it over and get that much. I think you could get more. I don't know. Give the boys and girls something to vote for right now early. Who wins tonight? Yesterday we had an overwhelming amount of people say the Dodgers, right?
I believe so, yeah. I think I was right.
Or did we? No, we did it in the chat yesterday. We didn't do the poll. Do a poll. Dodgers or Yankees tonight? I don't know. Did we see any issues with the fans tonight after last night in right field?
Yeah, that was really an ugly scene. And I don't know what really is. Major League Baseball is not letting those fans into the game today. So they've been kicked out of game 5 because it's the last home game for the Yankees. So rather than suspend them for the rest of the season or something, you say you just can't go to the World Series game for game 5 because this is it. So like that's it.
Okay.
So all we're doing is taking them out of a big game, a World Series game, but they can come back next year. Some people want them banned for life. Gronk, I guess it's Gronk's friend. Gronk said this morning on FanDuel TV that it was his friend.
Yeah, that's
how classic is that?
It's college buddy or something. I don't know. You can't come in the game tonight. They went and did.
You can't touch a player.
That was very. I don't know if anything like that ever happened, and that was. Mookie did a great job to get away, but he did.
They grabbed his arm. Grabbed his arm. Like it was ridiculous. Like you
literally held the glove.
You didn't touch him or something. You grabbed. Yeah. Like the guys misunderstood the rule. Like the rule is when the player comes over into the stands. Like you try to get out of the way, but you can try for the baseball. You can't touch the player. You can't put your hands on somebody else ever. That's illegal, whether it be in a baseball game or not. You can't put your hands on another human being in America. That's assault. And his glove was right there, and you put your hand, you grabbed his wrist. You assaulted him in right field. And they're like, well, the guy was like, in the line, it's the line. I was like, yeah, it's the line. He comes over. You have a right to play the baseball. That's fine. You don't have a right to attack the guy coming into the stands. It's unbelievable.
It doesn't make any sense. At some point, I get like you're hyped up. You want to be a part of the game, but you don't do that. I don't know, Jim. Is it only in Yankee Stadium?
I think it might happen. It could happen at Fenway. It could happen in Philadelphia, but it's an East Coast thing. It's definitely an East Coast thing to go ahead and to grab the guy's arm.
I don't know if that guy in Dodger Stadium that reached over and grabbed the ball the other night, if he could have grabbed the arm, he might have. And he was great. Like he immediately looked around and said, "Kid, grab your glove. We're leaving. We're out." Because I did that. Like you have to know as soon as you do that, you're gone.
Right.
And they went and took pictures and got a story written about him and all this other stuff. I don't know. We could ask somebody that was at the game last night.
That's the great thing about having Boos on here is that he was at the game last night.
Phenomenal.
It's one thing to have him on. It's a whole different story that he actually can give us a real firsthand account as to what that was like. From SportTrade joining us here for the first time. Appreciate the time coming on here. We'll put you in the big box for us here on a Well Watch Wednesday.
Look at that.
Anthony, you tell
What's
us,
up, guys?
What was that like at Yankee Stadium last night?
The whole situation was electric. The unfortunate Mookie thing. Obviously the guy, it should not have done that. It shouldn't happen anywhere. I agree with you guys. He didn't understand the rule, but even still, right? They should have tried to make a play on the ball rather than wait till it was in his glove. It was a little annoying. He was booed at, consistently after that happened. So
good.
It wasn't like everybody was cheering for the guy.
Yeah.
But what an electric, time last night.
This is what I'm going to ask you. You're a Yankee fan, and when I saw you quickly before the show, I was hoping you had the full gear on, pants and stirrups and everything, but you look great. What was the mood going into the game? Because a lot of people, national media, national shows, a lot of things we're talking about. It's not a coronation for the Dodgers. It's not a funeral for the Yankees. but it's 3-0 and you got tickets. Are you
Yeah.
hyped up or just hoping they win? What are you hoping for when you
Not
go?
only is it 3-0 and I have tickets, but I have about a 2.5 hour, 3 hour commute to get to the game with my son. So, we were like, all right, we're doing this. Like they have to win tonight. I do not want to go to a funeral. Like we need to win this game tonight. But we were psyched about it. The mood in the stadium, like, yeah, down 3-0, but everybody was excited. People felt hopeful. I think everybody was like, don't let us win tonight. Just like that quote from when the Red Sox did it to us,
to
right?
you.
Don't let us win tonight. Let us win tonight. We got Cole tomorrow, right? Rodon on the next game in Game 7, like you guys said, anything can happen. Just don't let us win tonight.
Do you believe it?
I feel
man?
good.
Do you believe it?
Oh my!
I feel good about tonight. I know you guys think they gave him the game last night. I don't think so.
When in 03, when we were down in 04, we were down 03. There wasn't a single person on the planet thought Boston was coming back. There wasn't a single person, and I'm one of them. Nobody thought it was possible.
Agreed.
Like they won Game 1, they're like, yeah, we're gonna lose Game 4. And then they walked off Game 5, and it was like, oh my gosh, okay, you won Game 4, you won Game 5, we're going back. They're gonna lose it in 6. Right. They're gonna lose it. And then Game 6 happens, and you have the A-Rod slapping the ball moment, and you had like, okay, and then Game 7 happens, and the grand slam goes off for Johnny Damon, and it was like a rout in Game 7. It wasn't even close.
Yeah.
The fact that everyone's saying this is bad for you. You want people to doubt your team, saying it can't happen, and then you might be able to shock the world.
Gotta believe, man. Gotta believe. You guys think? I know you said earlier that you think it was a phone-in game for the Dodgers. I don't think so. Like he didn't use his big guns because they gave up the grand slam in the 3rd inning. So it was. Right.
So he punted.
It wasn't
the game
like
that.
I don't know that he punted the game. I think
you were there. It was 5-2. It was.
I know, but I don't think they punted the game. They're still trying to win the game, right? I don't think they're just saying. I don't think any major league team's going to just say, "Oh, we don't care about."
No. I mean, they don't put their big arms out there in a 5-2 baseball game. You're trying to win. You would hold the lead at 3. You put your big arms out there trying to hold the lead. They didn't do that. They were like, "Go ahead," and then you had the 3-run home run. You had 2 3-run home runs after that blew the game open to make it 11-4. So that's all I mean by that. Is it like Roberts didn't use the arms he has available tonight last night in the close game?
But the Yankees have their best arm tonight too. So I feel good about having Cole on the mound. Hopefully, Boone is not dumb enough to take him out early again. I think he will, unless he has any plans of maybe having him make an appearance in Game 7. If he's not going to do that, and I don't think he's going to, because he shied away from trying to start him yesterday, saying he's worried about the arm, given like the history earlier in the year. If that's the case, he should throw 120 pitches today. I mean, there's nobody else out there that there's no other reason to take him out of this game. Like, so I feel good about having him on the mound, and then we just got to get back to LA, and then you just got to win one game at a time, man. You could do
literally one game, one inning at a time tonight. As long as Cole keeps them tied, close, whatever. I mean, it was 5-4 yesterday, and the Dodgers had guys on. I mean, that game could have flipped at 5-4, and it went the other way. So that's good. I mean, I mean, for historical purposes, for book purposes, business purposes, more baseball action is not a bad thing, right?
No, it's great.
You're getting action. I see these tweets. You guys are slimming the margins. You're doing all kinds of stuff. How's the baseball World Series been for you guys?
Been great. Yeah, it's been really good. I mean, definitely you see, there's a lot of interest in the World Series this year, not just on the East Coast, but both coasts are involved and excited. So I think anytime you have 2 big markets, people seem to get more excited about the outcome, and sometimes that drives more activity. So we're definitely seeing some really good volume.
Let's talk NBA here for a second, because this is a huge deal with NBA player props. I know SportTrade has turned this on. You guys are now into this market. When we talk to Alex, he often makes the case about how you guys enter into new markets and what you make available, how careful you are when you do it. You want to make the best prices, and you want to have the best opportunity and the best experience for your customers to come and play. How has it gone so far? We're about a week and a half into the NBA season. What's the player prop market been like for SportTrade?
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, it's been better than we could have hoped for. So you're right. Like, we kind of rolled them out, and we saw some preseason, and it was starting to pick up. But now what we've really seen is that accelerate. So about 25% of our bets in the last, since the season started, are NBA props, like player props, and almost 40% of those are in play, which is really phenomenal, right? So people are moving these in and out, trading, right? Seeing tons of volume at great prices. So, people are arbing is to some extent when they're seeing how good the price is relative to other places, but a lot of guys just taking punts and going for it, right? Some really good activity. We're really excited about it.
Does it affect the other handle? So when you get more of the player props, do the sides and the totals go a little bit less? Like, are you seeing it, or is it actually? Because I've had this discussion with people in the industry. It's not the same customers playing that stuff. I think it brings in new people.
Yeah.
So I tell them, no, it's in addition to, not in lieu of. Am I right? Wrong? What are you seeing?
You're right, Dave. Right. So it's definitely, some people will shift a little, but you definitely see new entrants coming in. You're right. It's not always the same player. So some folks that have more of a fantasy background and, they're used to knowing the players and they think they know the players well, they're drawn to more player props. So we definitely see incremental activity. It's not just a shift from, sides and totals. So you definitely see new action coming in from new players that some players are only doing player props. Right. So it definitely is.
And you guys aren't kicking them out. That's good, because
we
a
don't
lot
kick
of people
anybody
that
out.
only do player props, they get limited quick and they lose their accounts and all.
At SportTrade, we don't kick anybody out, as you know. Like we give you limits and we don't kick anybody out.
Yeah.
What are you guys seeing? You mentioned a lot of it's coming from the in-play market. Like how deep are you guys going in terms of per game NBA player props? Because obviously we've seen, since sports gambling's become legalized, we've seen some books that put up gigantic, huge menus, but you guys are doing in-play player props. How deep are you guys going?
Most like starters for sure, right? We're not going as deep as what you might see on some of the big rec books, right? Where you might even have guys that aren't necessarily starters that you're getting lines on, but we are doing lines on pretty much all the starters, and it's all lines, right? So it's everything: defensive props, blocks, steals. It's not just points, right? And then there's combos, right? So points plus rebounds plus assists, all of those.
How's Virginia been? Like,
great.
Virginia, grand opening.
We just went live last week. We had a kickoff party in Virginia last Thursday. It was our first day live in the Commonwealth, so we're really excited about it. We had a great turnout. About 30 plus people showed up at the event we did, and we started to see signups right away. And we're already seeing decent volumes. We're really exciting to go live in our 5th state now.
You're live in a state that has a football team that everyone's talking about. So how much commander action did you guys see? I mean, everyone's talking about, obviously, the Hail Mary, the whatever you want to call it, the Maryland Miracle, whatever the name of that new thing's going to be with the play that beat the Bears. But you guys are live in Virginia now. I mean, they play in Virginia. How has the action been, and what do you expect out of the commander action coming up in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, I mean, we just went live, right? So we were only live for a few days prior to that, but we saw some volume on it. I think we'll see Virginia continue to grow over the course of the next few weeks. But I think people are excited, as you said, around. It's amazing what a real quarterback can do when you get one, huh? Like as a Giant fan, I have a hard time with that. But yeah, like I think it will drive more volume. I think the more people get excited about the local team, the more likely they are to follow it and bet on it. So I think we'll see that coming over the course of the rest of the season.
Now, you said you're a Giants fan.
I am.
I'm from Pittsburgh. It's nighttime in Pittsburgh behind me. Did you watch Monday night, or did you watch baseball? Because
baseball.
Not even a question, right? Like, I watched baseball.
Not even close. At this point, with as bad as the Giants are, I might have watched the World Series if the Yankees weren't in it over watching that Giant game.
That bad.
It's not a great time to be a Giants fan.
Is there any hope?
Or a Jet fan.
I mean, like for that team, take your book hat off and put your fan hat on. Like that division is a mess. They're a mess. Like what do you do at this point?
I mean, you got to get a quarterback, right? Like, so I would love for them to like bubble wrap Danny Jones so he doesn't get hurt and just lose the rest of the games. Let's get a quarterback. Like, we need to do something. Look what a quarterback can do. Like, you don't have to look that far in the division to see it, right? I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah.
What do you make of the future of not just Jones, but also your head coach in Brian Daboll? Because everyone's saying that, look, when he had a quarterback, Daboll was pretty good. But he doesn't have a quarterback, and you guys paid the quarterback, gave him a lot of money. Are they tied to the hip? If Jones is out, is Daboll out too?
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of talk about that, obviously, in the New York sports media, but I think he probably gets a little bit more time. I would hope he does. I'd like to see him have a shot with a new quarterback. I mean, it wasn't his pick, right? So he sort of got saddled with him. I think he had to take the approach of we have to try to fix it. You saw the Hard Knocks thing. They were looking this offseason. They tried to see if they could do something, just wasn't there. But at this point, they just had to go with it. But it will be interesting. He just like both him and Schoen just got the dreaded vote of confidence, right, from the owner.
Yeah.
So we'll see what that means, but we'll see.
Compare. I asked Alex this a couple weeks ago. College is ramping up with big games, and like this week we got 2 games, one with 2 teams in the top 5, Penn State, Ohio State. Where does a big game college rank with an average game NFL handle wise? Like, do you guys see a push? Because I mean, you're legal in Iowa, right?
Yeah.
Probably a lot of college players are legal in Arizona, probably a little bit of both. But like New Jersey, I don't know, and what it is, but big game college, more or less equal to volume as far as
a big time college game can do the same volume as like a primetime NFL game. I mean,
Wow.
college, like big time college, right? A big matchup, huge fans, huge customer base. Doesn't matter if you're in that state. It doesn't have to be, like, oh, it's Colorado in Colorado. Like if you have 2 top 10 teams playing, you're going to get huge action on that, regardless of where that team, those 2 teams are from. Like people love college football. So we see similar size action, on a college game that you would on a pro game, provided that you have it there and there's enough liquidity to go around.
Not as a sport trade question, just a personal question for you. Are you a horse guy?
I actually am a little bit. Not. I don't follow as much anymore. I actually owned a racehorse years ago. I was part of like a horse racing claiming partnership.
Oh boy,
where we did like maiden claimer type.
How'd that go?
Races and stuff. What's the saying? A great way to to make a small fortune in horse racing is to start with a large fortune. Is that what they say? No, it didn't go well, but it was fun. Like we had about 5 or 6 different horses over the course of like 4 years, and we actually won 1 or 2 races. That was kind of fun.
Are you in a picture in a winner's circle somewhere?
Yeah, it was cool.
Oh, what track was that at?
It was in West Virginia.
Mountaineer Park?
Mountaineer Park. Yeah.
How about that? Yeah. I've been there a couple times. I mean, I'm not a horse guy, but I've been there.
Most of our runners ran out of Delaware Park. So we would ship them down to some of the West Virginia tracks sometimes.
Right.
But that was a long time ago. It was like 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's still the same racket.
Yeah. I saw you guys are going to the Breeders.
Going to Del Mar on Friday, live show. Yeah, that'll be fun.
Very cool.
I have no idea what we're going to we might be in a stall doing the show right now. We still haven't got a location. We're going to be at the track. I don't know where. Last question for me, sir.
Sure.
Are you ready for what's coming next week with college basketball? Like you guys are expanding states all over. There's 100 games like on Tuesday all over the place, and all the razor blades and the angle shooters and everybody's coming because you guys got the little juice and you got all this totals, all this other stuff. Are you ready for college basketball?
We're getting ready. Like we're excited about it. I love college basketball. It's one of the most exciting sports to watch. So I can't wait for it. There's not just March Madness when everybody gets excited, but I love it the whole time. So it's great. So we're really looking forward to it. It's going to be awesome.
All right, give me a score. We going Yankees and over, Dodgers and under. What happens tonight?
Yankees for sure. I think it's 6-2 tonight. Yankees
under.
Oh, okay.
Under.
Cole
and Judge breaks out of it, hits his first home run tonight.
My goodness. I mean, that's a call you could make that bet, prop bet. Anthony says Judge is going to hit a home run. Take the big plus. Good luck with that, Ant. Are you wearing that shirt all day? Are you going to stay in the Yankee stuff all day?
No, I'll take it off. I got to wash it.
Good
needs to be ready for tonight. This is my Mariano jersey, so I got to get it ready for tonight again.
All right. Well, you enjoyed the game, sir. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Good seeing you guys.
Good stuff. Boosie joining us from SportTrade on a Whale Watch Wednesday here on the Bostonian versus the Book. Good to get him on the program talking about what's going to happen tonight. The Yankees and the Dodgers tonight, game number 5 of the World Series happening in the Bronx. It's going to be a pretty festive atmosphere.
Glad he took the kid. The kid got to see a win.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Frankie went the day before with his dad and
got
lost.
The loss.
You know,
got the
said he
loss.
wasn't going back. So,
Ooh.
I mean, that's a big expense. And I mean,
yeah, it's a World Series game.
He drove 2.5, 3 hours up, 2.5, 3 hours back.
It's worth it for the World Series, though.
No question. No question.
This has been a bet that I've seen a lot of people make. Do you agree? Team total Dodgers over. It's been pretty much. It's what I think it's 4 for 4 in this series.
Over last night, yeah.
It's 4 for 4.
4-2.
Oh, there we go. I'm the kid. The game was awesome. Look at that.
I'm the kid. The game was awesome. Look at this. Moosh Boosh. That's awesome. Great. How old is Moosh? That's
good question. By the look of the avatar, I'm going to say early 20s.
Well, that's great.
I'm going to guess early 20s.
There's nothing better than going to a game with your dad.
Wow. I was a little off. He's 29.
29.
That's close.
All right.
I guessed it. 29.
That's good.
So I thought
is
I
your
was
dad
at
a good
24.
driver?
It doesn't matter. You're going to the game. You're going to the game.
I don't know.
Say, is it 7.5? Or you same game? Are you pulling that down, Iran?
Plus
that,
1.5 for dogs, and over 7.5. You can pull it down.
Oh, so that's all total then.
It's 8 in places, and it might be 7.5.
It's going down.
It's flat 8 3 places 8s, and other 3 places.
I will be stunned if the Yankees win an under game. Stunned. That's not their MO.
I don't know. Cole writes a fairy tale tonight. Garrett Cole writes a fairy tale. Does what he did in game 1, but they leave him in, and he finishes the job. 8 innings, 2 earned, 11 Ks. They go crazy.
This is my life right now. Amanda is texting me right now horses for the Breeders' Cup. She's asking me thoughts on horses for us to.
She wants doing the show by now.
She's more happy about going to the Breeders' Cup than any other thing we've ever done. Like, she's so excited for us to go to the Breeders' Cup. She doesn't care about any other show we did. She came to the circus show. She's so excited about us going to the Breeders' Cup on Friday. She just asked me about a horse. I have no idea. I have no name. Usba Testoro. Ever heard of that horse? I have no idea.
We'll ask the horse guys tomorrow.
I guess so. I have no idea. It's Torpedo Anna is running. What race is that in the Classic?
I don't know, Sully. You have to come up with a little more content.
Yeah. What race? Which race is
I haven't
Torpedo
even
Anna
looked
in?
at the entries yet. I'm doing that later today. I got to go do the Bettis video. I got to come up.
It's a gray horse.
Sides.
Oh, that's a gray horse.
Usba
Testoro is a gray horse.
There we go.
Bet the gray, right? Oh my. Anyways, best experience once in a lifetime. They won. Was amazing to spend the day with someone like we used to when I was little. Oh, that's a horse tug. Oh God,
that's the best. That's the best. That's
Roger. I mean, absolutely. Ohtani's injured. He dislocated his shoulder. I said it when he did it.
Injured.
I said he hurt it. You don't just pop that thing back in and not have all of those muscles and tendons be stretched out. There is, as I said, to me, I would have sat him in game 3. I wouldn't have played him in game 3. I would have set him for game 4 or even all the way until game 5 to get him right for 5, 6, 7 if you have to.
Was he running with his arm like tugged on his shirt?
Because it hurts. Because when you run, that hurts.
So he literally was running like he grabbed his jersey and so he wouldn't move his arm.
Yeah.
He ran.
He's hurt. The shoulder, I did it. It sucks. It's the worst. You stretch out everything. There is no way he is not 50% or less right now. Like they're just shooting it up. They're just going ahead and putting everything in and they're just putting drugs on it. He's popping pills like crazy just to swing the bat. Like, I think they should tell him, don't try to hit home runs. Just make contact. Like, he's swinging hard. And it scares me when I see that. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's literally one wrong movement and the thing will pop out again. If he's torn the labrum, the labrum's torn, the thing's going to pop out at some point again. There's nothing holding the ball and socket together. So they say it was a slight subluxation, meaning it came out and it came back in. Okay. Popped in, popped out. Fine. But woo.
Well, I'm putting on my listening glasses. That was the medical portion of the show, boys.
Just saying, when he did it, I was like, you don't just there's no such thing. It's like being a little pregnant. You don't just literally, there's no little dislocation of your shoulder.
Actually nothing like being a little pregnant.
You're either pregnant or you're not. You either dislocated it or you didn't.
Okay.
You either popped the thing out or you didn't. He popped the thing out. Okay. So the question is,
ideally, if you pop it out, you don't get pregnant. You know what I'm saying? If you
correct,
pop it out,
yes, the baby pops out in other ways. But if you're going to dislocate the shoulder, the only question I had was, did he tear the labrum? If he didn't tear the labrum, then okay, now it's just really sore, and you just got to get a lot of painkillers and a lot of anti-inflammatory in there to calm down the shoulder, and he probably could play in a game or two. He came back the next damn game. I was like, what are we doing? I was like, I couldn't believe they put him in there. So they're saying that it's not torn. Okay, so labrum's not torn. He had good strength and good mobility. Yeah, it still came out of the socket. Like
he had good strength and good mobility, meaning he could move it.
Right. Yeah, not hit a 100-mile-per-hour fastball. Right. Not hit the ball 300 feet. No. So I don't know. To me, I think it was a mistake. If by some way the Dodgers do choke this and blow it and become the first team ever to do it, and Dave Roberts, we said it before game 4, this is Shakespearean shit. This is amazing. If Dave Roberts wins the World Series, causes the most incredible sports comeback ever. And I will say this, if the Yankees do this in the World Series, this would be the greatest comeback in sports history, because the Red Sox did it in the ALCS to their rival, which makes it special. It's the best comeback in Red Sox and Boston sports history. It currently is the best comeback in sports history. But if the Yankees do this in the World Series, higher stakes. I mean, this would be more impressive to do this in a World Series setting than an ALCS setting.
Right.
Now, I can't see the Dodgers losing 4 games in a row. I just can't. But you start to put pieces together, right? If you want to paint the picture, if you want to be rosy here and you want to paint the picture for the Yankees, Freddie Freeman is on fire with a broken foot. Like, he can't really run. If that acts up on him and he doesn't hit another home run tonight, and then you have an Ohtani injury, Mookie's been okay. Mookie hasn't been tremendous. You start to paint the picture.
Yeah.
So
it could happen. It could happen. Ant is in the chat. I'll put my Yankee hat on just for him right now.
It's going to happen. I wouldn't say it's going to happen, Boost. That's the thing. Don't say that. Don't say it's going to happen. If you say it's going to happen, it's not going to happen.
Could happen.
It's like people, standing on tables for bets, and they're like, I guarantee this bet to hit. It's not going to hit. Like, the Yankees should win tonight. Absolutely. But then it comes down to game 6. The winner of game 6 wins the series. The Yankees win game 6. Yeah. The Yankees probably win game 7.
So then it gets to what? If they win game 5 tonight, game 6 is who for the Dodgers? Who started game 2 for the Dodgers?
It probably was a bullpen game, wasn't it?
No. It wasn't. It was
Yamamoto started game 2.
So you got to beat Yamamoto and Walker Buehler.
Yeah, 6-7, right. In 6-7. And Buehler looks tremendous. I mean, they have a stopper. I mean, pitching is still benefiting the Dodgers. I mean, you can give them the Cole game if you want. You can be like, you went to New York looking for one game. That's all. You went to New York for one win.
You gotta win it today if you're the Dodgers.
I don't think so. You got to win game 6.
Obviously, Dodgers, you got to win game 6, but the Dodgers mentality today is we're playing to win this thing. Right here.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Play. Will they play New York if the Dodgers win a World Series there tonight? Like, they're not going to play it tonight. Somebody's got to.
No, they will. That's the end of game tradition. After the game's over, they play it. Yeah, they'll play it.
While the Dodgers are celebrating winning the World Series, they're going to play that for people to leave on the way out.
It's a good question, because MLB might stop them, because then it's being played while the celebration videos are being taken. So you have a New York song being played when the Dodgers are celebrating. So I think the Dodgers or Major League Baseball might stop it from happening, but the Yankees would do that. Yes. There you go. They played it when the Marlins clinched, so they're going to play it again.
They did. Wow.
Yeah, the Yankees will want to play it. Unless MLB tells them specifically not to play it, they will play it. Yeah,
what?
They'll play it.
I'll get it. Right above Linus's comment, CBW came in and said the 1942 Leafs were down 3-0 and won the Stanley Cup.
Correct. And won nothing since.
I think CBW was a little kid in the stands when that happened. If that's true, CBW, I love you. I'm just kidding. You're in the business. We're waiting for Adam to get in. When Adam gets in, we'll talk some football. I don't know. I know I'm watching this tonight, P-Roll. There's a lot of NBA. There's a lot of whatever. I can't wait
to
World
watch Series.
Baseball game.
Yeah, this is the World Series. You watch the World Series, absolutely. Before we get to Adam Rank from NFL Network, let's talk some college football here with him. College football totals continue to be this number of 60. Outdoor games since 2021, 60 or higher, undergoing a 57% clip right now. So it's not just all games at 60 or with games outdoors rather, since 21, 57% of the time going under. For this year, totals of 60 or higher are 95 and 58 to the under. This number keeps on being remarkable. It's the best start in the last 20 years. Given the fact that I just showed you this, I bring this up, Dave. I know we've talked about it a lot, but this isn't the clock. 60 or higher for outdoor games, 57% have gone under. Now, the clock changed this year, but not for the previous years. What do you make of this number of 60 being kind of like a death number for overs?
It changed a couple of years ago, this thing with the clock. This is all of it happening, but you can see it. Outdoor, indoors, there's outdoor games are what? 90% of college football games are outdoors?
Yeah, maybe more for college.
Yeah, there's not too many they play in domes. I don't know. Make it out like it's the same thing we've been talking about. I have nothing new to add to it. It's right.
Just something to watch.
Trying to run more.
I don't know. It's an interesting point. It's the clock changes over the last 2 years. It has been definitely an impact. This year, it's been less offense. It's been less passing. It's been running. This is what we were talking about last year. Yep, last 2 years. They changed it last year. It's been 2 years now with this running clock, not stopping after first downs, only inside the 2 minutes. So it's different. It's definitely something to watch, and it probably has helped to stuff like this. The SEC has seen underdogs go 26-11 against the spread this year. That's the best of any conference. If you talk about home favorites, how about this? Home favorites in the SEC are 3-15 against the number this year. That's insane.
Favorites are 3-15.
That's an insane number. Worst in the SEC history since 1990.
I wonder what that is straight up.
Well, there's been a lot of straight up wins.
That's what I was going to say. That's
a lot of big wins.
Vandy's covered the spread. And again, the home teams in the SEC, I don't want to say all the time, but they probably get an extra point or two added to the line.
Okay.
They haven't won as many of those games. I mean, Vanderbilt's personally responsible for a bunch of those right there.
And they got one today. They got one tomorrow on Saturday. This week, they got one. 2 teams are at home in the SEC who are home favorites. There are 2 road favorites in the SEC this week, but there are 2 home favorites. Auburn's laying 7 against Vandy. Vandy beat Alabama at home. And Tennessee is laying 16.5 against Kentucky. Not straight up, but maybe covering. Both those teams, I think, are live to cover.
Yeah.
Just looking at the numbers.
Auburn's a 7-point favorite at Vandy?
Home. Not at Vandy. Home. It's a home favorite.
Okay.
Auburn's at home. Tennessee's at home. The stat is home favorites are 3-15 ATS.
Okay. So, all right. Man, I don't know. I mean, at first blush, I like Vandy, but Kentucky's probably not covered a couple times at home, right?
They lost outright to Kentucky. They're a double-digit favorite against Vanderbilt. They lost outright to Vandy. So right. Kentucky's one of the teams that's contributed to blowing games at home in the SEC this year.
But so is Tennessee, right? They lost.
To Tennessee. They haven't covered a bunch. Tennessee hasn't covered. I mean, this is crazy about Tennessee. Remember the first half train that we were betting, first half laying the spread?
Yeah.
They haven't scored a point in the first half in 3 games.
Yeah.
First time since 1963. The Vols have been blanked in 3 straight games.
Yeah.
Home or road. Can't cover a spread when you don't score. What happened to Josh Heupel?
I don't know. The discussions have begun. A lot of people are talking about it on the socials, are talking about it on the shows about how many SEC teams are getting in, how many Big Ten teams are getting in. I saw some people picked up the conversation with Indiana versus Penn State versus
Oh,
Ohio State versus, if Ohio State loses this game, how do they get in the playoff? We asked that question earlier in the week. I don't know.
right.
I mean, 2 losses, tough. I don't know.
Mm.
The college football discussion has been good.
So let's pause it for the college football discussion and let's go to the NFL. Our guy, one and only, Mr. Adam Rank, joining us from the NFL Network, joining us here. Boston versus the Book. What's up, dude? How are you? Great to see you. Thanks for coming back on.
Oh my gosh, thanks so much for having me. It's been far too long. I was when Dave reached out to me, I was like, oh my God, yeah, I'll come on. I know I do a lot of interviews all over the time and ever. I think the time that we spent in Vegas was one of my favorite times. When I look back at that week and I'm like, you know what, we had such a blast. And I'm so happy to be back with you. That's why I'm just happy to be back with you. That's why, listen, this time of year, I'm very good about like ignoring people and be like, no. Then I'm like, oh crap. I go, no, this is one. It might have taken me 12 hours to get back to you, and I apologize. No, but that was an immediate like, oh no, I'll do it tomorrow. Let's go. Like, no joke.
Perfect. So to set the stage, Jessica and I are at Buffalo Wild Wings by ourselves, which never happens. Kendall stayed home, Grandma and Pat her, and I'm looking up at the screen, and there's Adam on the show on the NFL Network, and I go, "Hey, I haven't talked to that guy for a while. I'm going to text him right now." My wife goes, "You don't know him."
You don't know him.
I actually do. We had a great interview at the Super Bowl when he was here, and she's like, "I don't believe you." And I'm like, "I'm going to text him right now." She's like, "Well, it's almost 10 o'clock." I'm like, "He's on the West Coast, so am I."
Guy? Yeah.
I said, "Don't worry about it." So we get in the car after I texted, and you texted back, and you're like, "Well, yeah, what time?" And I'm like, "Matt will text you in the morning. We'll figure it out." Perfect. And I was so excited, Adam. I was like, "Guess what?" Texted back. He's coming on the show.
Texted back.
Yeah, I was fired up. So I was like, "All right, great." I told you last night via the text that your head looked perfectly clean. You were rolling in that hoodie, that red hoodie. I was like, "Yeah, I can't wait to see him tomorrow. Can't wait to see what he wants to talk about." But I got to ask you off the top.
Okay.
AFC, NFC.
Yeah.
The picture looks very different. Book guys we're having arguments daily, me and a couple other guys. We know who I think the first best teams are in each conference. It's got to be Kansas City in the AFC. It's got to be Detroit in the NFC.
Yeah, for sure. There's no real debate for that. I think the Ravens. I know, right? Because even last week, when you look at what happened with the Baltimore Ravens, they go out there, they play the Cleveland Browns, and obviously it was an emotional game for the Cleveland Browns, memorializing their longtime announcer. But I think that Cleveland kind of took the Ravens down a peg, because it's funny watching that team, because, and I know this from a fantasy perspective, they're very vulnerable defensively. And it's kind of nice to see Eddie Jackson. The Eddie Jackson that we knew in Chicago is kind of the same Eddie Jackson in Baltimore. Like we missed out on the Roquan Smith one. You're like, okay, yeah, he's pretty good. Maybe we should have kept him. Eddie Jackson's been out there causing some issues. And you see these running backs catching the ball out of the backfield against this team, which would have never happened over the previous decades. And you're like, oh God, teams are getting over on them. So I think they have some vulnerabilities, even though Derrick Henry has looked great. Buffalo, as much as you love Buffalo, you're like, no, there's still something about Buffalo. Like, what is the missing piece for this? It's kind of like watching. Was
it Amari Cooper? Like, was that trade?
I like him.
Impact anything?
I like him a lot. I think that's what they needed. They got a little cute. They're like, we don't need Stephon Diggs. He's a headache. And you're like that, but sometimes these guys who are very good also bring some. You kind of deal. I know there's a scale. It's like the Barney Stinson crazy hot scale. Like, if you're going to be this crazy, you got to be this hot. And I think Stephon Diggs was starting to dip under you're not that good that we're going to be putting up with this stuff. Like Randy Moss back in the day could get away with a lot of stuff for good reason. But they did need somebody to kind of stabilize them. I do like a lot of their young pass catchers. I think Keon Coleman is a good player. Khalil Shakir, the Dalton Kincaid, and all those guys. But they need that alpha. Like, you need that one guy, that one dog who is going to go out there and win some battles for you. So for me, it comes down to, what are we getting out of Sean McDermott? Like, is Sean McDermott, what is he going to be able to do? Because Sean McDermott has now run out of excuses. You fired the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator. You chased away my friend Leslie Frazier. I don't mean to sound bitter, but whatever. You did what you did, Sean. You got rid of Stephon Diggs. Like you're the only one left. Like we're running out of people to blame. Like you and Aaron Rodgers. Like you can get people fired and bring in all your friends and do everything you want to do. But at some point, it's up to you to go out there and do that. And so all these teams in the AFC seem to have questions. Like you can sit here like, is Cincinnati really out of the mix? Like I don't want to give up on them, but like they're it's just so much variety.
Are you purposely not mentioning the Steelers?
Oh gosh, no, that's not, no.
I thought you were doing that.
No, not doing that on purpose. Absolutely not. That was an omission. By the way, I sat there on the show yesterday and we used the Mike Tomlin thing. Like, hey, Mike Tomlin, can I be forgiven? Because there was nobody who was louder about like, what are you doing to Justin Fields? This poor man is a guy. Yeah, you turned out. You're probably right. Like I guess Mike Tomlin does know what he's doing, and we should give him the benefit of that. I think you know what. If I'm thinking, I wish I like Najee and I like Jalen, and I'm like, there's still something offensively that they're missing. That I wish that they just had one more go-to kind of guy. I like George Pickens. I like watching Cal Austin go out there and even Van Jefferson score, and it's fun. I just wish they had one other like who is their one other guy like that they can count on? Who's their Santonio Holmes type player who when you need a big play, you know what I'm like the Steelers have always done a great job of getting guys like Antonio Brown and Hines Ward and players like that, but they've always had that other guy who is equally as good. Plaxico Burress during his time there before he went to the Giants, and like there are those guys there, and that's the one thing that I wish Pittsburgh had because I'm into it, and as much as I love Justin Fields, and I'm a huge Fields guy, even before Fields went to Pittsburgh, I was down. You can go on. This is on tape. It's on my podcast. Like I was down with Russell Wilson. I really love that move. And to me, I kind of equated it to what happened to Kurt Warner when Kurt Warner played well for St. Louis. Then he had that ill-fated stretch with the Giants, and they got rid of him because they drafted Eli. And then he goes on to his third team with the Cardinals, takes them to the Super Bowl. And so for me, I'm like, Russell could have this kind of career where it's like Seattle, great, Denver, not great, but great opportunity in Pittsburgh. And we're starting to see that too. And he's starting to really put it all together.
There's some news that we didn't tell our audience yet that I want to get your take on. Shane Steichen of the Colts made it known today that it's not just a 1 week thing for Joe Flacco to be the quarterback of the Colts. That Anthony Richardson is benched for the rest of the season, barring injury, and he's going to ride with Joe Flacco the rest of the way. They invested a high draft pick on this kid. I know he tapped out, and I know everyone's saying, Pat McAfee, everyone's else going, I've never seen a quarterback ask out of a game because he was tired. He was honest about it. Why did you ask out? He goes, I ran a lot. I was tired. What does this do to the future? Flacco's great for now, but what's the future of the Colts quarterback position?
Yeah, you know what? I wish it was one of those things, and I wish he would have just fallen onto the ground and just made the coaches come get him and take him off for a player. Like lay on the ground, don't tap out. Like lay down. I'm still going through. I want to go back and watch. I haven't watched the press conference yet with Shane Steichen. I did see the headlines on NFL.com about what he said because for me, there's a lot because it feels like the conversation are two different competing conversations. I think that number one, it is better for the Indianapolis Colts to ride with Joe Flacco. He is their better quarterback right now. I don't think that there's no dispute of that. We've seen Joe Flacco do this last season with the Cleveland Browns. And I know there's a lot of pushback about, well, what are the Colts trying to accomplish? Like, well, I don't get to the playoffs. Like there's people making money playing professional football in Indianapolis who would probably like to make the playoffs and get an opportunity to play postseason football. There are guys who will not be with the Colts 5 years from now who don't care about the long-term development about Anthony Richardson. I want to go win a football game right now. Like, I'm sorry. I don't want to hurt this guy's feelings. I want to win right now. Joe Flacco gives us the best chance to win. Shane Steichen should feel that way. And that's fine. And I think you should make that move. I would also like to hear the Colts say, and they might have, and again, I have not listened to the interview. I've seen a headline on NFL.com, so he might have said something similar to this. I think that we live in a situation where he can just say, look, we're going to go with Joe Flacco because we want to win games right now, but we're still committed to Anthony Richardson being the long-term answer for the Indianapolis Colts. We've seen in the NFL guys like Patrick Mahomes didn't play his first season except for
Right.
week 17. We've seen Jordan Love sit for quite some time. And while we sit here in our division and we watch CJ Stroud go to the playoffs in his first year, that's not happening with us. We have a quarterback who did not play a lot of games. He was 20 years old when we drafted him. It's in our best interest to have him sit the bench and develop. And eventually he is going to be the long-term answer for the Indianapolis Colts. And I think that's fair. Like,
well, the quote is kind of what you said. Sykin said, it's a difficult thing, but it's my obligation to the 53 guys in this organization to win football games. And right now I'm focused on the present, winning football games. We'll get to the future when we have to get to the future.
I love it. Okay, that's fair. And I think that's what you should want. Like, if you're a fan of that team, you ultimately want Anthony Richardson to be the long-term answer at quarterback. And I think that still could happen. It's not going to happen with him on the field. And you might as well go out there and just let him sit. Like, it's fine to sit. Like, I know that we've seen, like, hey, we're throwing this quarterback into the fire, doing whatever. Look at what happened with Andrew Luck when you put him out there, and he was somebody who was just ready. Like, we were waiting for him to go, but he wasn't necessarily in the best situation. I think for Anthony Richardson, the best situation for him is to sit and grow and develop. And we're seeing a lot of young quarterbacks having to sit or being benched. Bryce Young is happening to him in Carolina, even though he's back onto the field. Like, it felt like they're like, well, Andy Dalton's sort of hurt, so we got to go out there and do this. Right. I know this will never happen. This is a dream of mine. I know it's not happening, and I feel foolish for even bringing it up. But if you're watching a baseball team and there's a 20-year-old phenom brought up to the major leagues, if he does not do well, he gets sent back to the minors unless he plays for the Angels. Then they're like, yeah, whatever, you're going to just stay out there. But I think, like, you send him back. Like, NBA teams will send him back to the G League maybe.
Right.
The NHL does this. You have all these leagues. If you ever wanted to make the XFL or the UFL or whatever league the NFL's, whatever spring league the NFL is bought into, I know they don't do it because of ego and contracts and all that stuff, but I swear to Great Caesar's ghost himself, would you not tune in to an XFL game that was being started by Anthony Richardson? Anthony Richardson versus Bryce Young in the XFL. Let's go. And you know what? Even if you wanted to make it a situation where it's like, don't hit the quarterback. If you touch him, he's down. Like, that's fine. Like, what are we playing for anyways? Like, right. I know they're worried about injuries, but like, they have to play football, and people would watch that. You would outdraw every sport.
Adam, we would make lines on it.
100%.
Yes, we would make lines. 100%. People would bet on it.
Why are we not doing this?
Right, because they say college is the minor league. Well, in reality, you could have a true minor league where you have a guy coming up and down where he's actually playing football and developing his talents. Like, Tom Brady was pretty adamant about this, saying the quarterback play is garbage. And it's hard to argue given the fact that we had, a month before we saw a guy throw for 300 yards in a game in the NFL. Like, we just don't see that anymore because the quarterback development, we're throwing out, like you mentioned, a 20-year-old, a 21-year-old Drake May. Like, we're chucking out these young kids to start right away. And then we're sitting back going like, well, why aren't you performing? They don't have time to season and get actually, ready to play NFL football. Why don't we have a minor league like that? I don't get that. There should be some up and down AAA type of system set up for the NFL.
It's there. I mean, it's ready to go. Like, they've invested in it. Like, they want to promote it. The NFL Network has programming needs in the offseason. Like, that would be the most watched thing of the spring. Do you want to see a regular season baseball game between the Mariners and the Sacramento A's, Las Vegas A's, whatever it is?
Vegas, yeah.
If you listen to Scott, it's never going to be Las Vegas, but whatever.
Right.
He's usually, it's somebody who hates sports as much as he does. He's usually like spotty. He broke the Devontae Adams thing.
I know.
Unknowingly. And I'm like, hey, Scott, do you know that you're breaking news right now? I'm actually quote tweeting you. And this is our thing. But it's interesting. Like, if we had that and then every team could have their input and even send a coach. Like, again, when you're trying to develop coaches as well, if you have a quarterback coach who you eventually want to be a head coach, send him down there and have him work with Anthony Richardson and be like, we're designating Anthony Richardson for assignment to the Birmingham Barons or Stallions or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, I understand why they don't, because they don't want them getting hurt. But
Right.
like we've seen these guys, like, listen, we can't let Jamison Williams drive around anymore without him getting into some sort of trouble.
Right.
Like I would rather have him in the XFL
Right.
doing something there where we can supervise these players, at least give them a little bit more structure. But yeah, I think it's a big thing about not playing football enough and whatever. And I think even the players union, I know they don't want a lot of OTAs and everything like that, but if you can design a way and do it with the safety, like you can't it's almost flag football for the quarterback. Like
Right.
you get to him,
Touch him.
he's done.
Right.
I would still find that entertaining. That would not bother me. I would
People
still
would watch. There's no question.
100%.
People would watch. Were you watching the Bears and the Commanders on
Obviously.
Sunday?
Obviously.
Do you believe what happened? Like what was your reaction when you saw it? And then, I mean, we were talking about it on Monday. Matt did an unbelievable montage to music and all this other stuff. I don't even know what they're calling it, but millions of dollars changed hands on that. Because
Oh God, I didn't even think about it that way.
The betting
man.
flip on that tip play was in the 7-figure amount.
Well, as a Bears fan, I was in the stunned silence of like not being able to believe that happened. Usually you think about like, oh, the sports books, like people at
what was
Circus
your
Sports or whatever.
emotions for the last, like the whole game was brutal, but like they handed the ball off to the guy that they never hand the ball off to.
Doug Kramer. Oh, you knew that play was coming. Like they've been setting that up for weeks. I will give you, this is the God's honest truth, is Caleb was not playing well. And it was something that when Matt Eberflus comes off a bye week, I think this is a problem with a lot of NFL teams. Outside of Andy Reid, I want to go back and investigate, like, how do these teams do off? Like, what do you do during the bye week? Like, you forget everything. Is it like not playing golf for a couple of weeks and you go to the driving range, you're like shanking the ball? Like, where did I learn how to shank the ball in not playing golf in 10 days? So I look at this. So I will tell you, like, things were not going well, but you're like defensively, God, you're not letting this kid loose. Like you're really starting to body him. Like Jaden Daniel started to look perturbed. Like I know I got in trouble for even mentioning this, but he went from like a small ice pack to a big like blanket or whatever it was. I know I got in trouble for even mentioning this, but I go back. You know what? Because I went back to this because we used to talk about Ben Roethlisberger. Like there was no player in the NFL historically who was better about talking about his injuries than Ben Roethlisberger, who would be like, normally you're like, hey, Tom Brady, how you feeling? He's like, I'm fine. Like Tom Brady would be missing a limb and be like, I'm fine. And then Ben, who you didn't even think was injured, you're like, hey, Ben, how you doing? Well, I got a little bit of headache. Shoulder's kind of bothering me. My hips, I think I slept on my hip wrong. I got a cough. I got like, stop talking. Why are you talking so much about this? Like you're trying to be so brave. My point of it was this, as I'm watching the game, Caleb's not playing well. They hand the ball off to DeAndre Swift. I'm like, why are we not establishing the run like we had the previous weeks? DeAndre Swift runs into the end zone. It's 12-7. At that moment, and Tyler Scott, a friend of mine who's on the team, backed me. He said, I thought the same thing, like, oh, we're going to win. We're going to win this game. Yeah. The Commanders are not scoring another point. Correct. Like they're not scoring another point. We've seen enough out of them because this is what the Bears do. The Bears give up a ton of yards. They don't give up a ton of points. Okay, they're done scoring. We're going to get down there. We're going to drive down. We're going to get another chance to win. Drive down, and then I go, don't do the fridge. Don't do the fridge thing. This is not the time. It gets cute. And I swear to God, next play, Doug Kramer, you gotta be kidding me. Even then, I'm like, you know what? 3 and out. They're not scoring. I'm not worried about that. We'll get the ball back. We're going to score. Does it. And then we get the ball back and score. And I said, you know what? For the life of me as a Bears fan, I've always wanted to be that team. Because like we in our history, we would do this to Aaron Rodgers, where we would bully him for 3 quarters, be like, we got him now. And then like all of a sudden, Randall Cobb's running naked for a touchdown. You're like, God, why? You know, or whatever it is. The champion, whatever. Yeah. I wanted to be that team. They're like, oh, you thought you had Caleb and you didn't. And we went, and so you're sitting there and it's like, okay. And then you're like, okay, 28 seconds. And my friend's like, we want it. I'm like, well, not now, because you just said that. Stop it, Chris. And they did the first play. They ran a play that didn't go anywhere.
Yep.
And there was 1 second taken off the clock. And I'm freaking. I'm like, why is there 1 second? And then they fixed the clock. Like, oh, there's 12 seconds. I'm like, okay, I feel better about this. And then I'm like, and then Tony Romo is like, don't let him get out of bounds, Jim.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, Christ, there's nobody.
Yep.
I'm like, you just let him walk to the 50.
Yep.
And then I go, and then I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, this quarterback's hurt. I'm like, is he even going to throw the ball? Can he throw the ball that far? It turns out he couldn't. You don't see what was happening with Tyreek Stevenson until later.
Right.
That ball's in the air. And I'm like, my first thought is like, I actually said, Roma Dunze, please knock that down. And Roma Dunze's not out there. Nor is Keenan Allen. I'm like, do we not?
Right.
Like, what do we do? Like, this is another thing too.
Guys.
Like, what is Chase Budger doing right now? Is he still in the NBA? Is he not? Is he still walking around Chicago? Because I would employ him just for one play, possibly every game, just to go up there and volleyball spike it, like when he was sitting there playing volleyball for the Wildcats. Like, just knock the ball down. And then you go through the whole play, and then you realize Tyreek Stevenson, number one, is taunting the fans, which is like, great heel move. Yeah. Great. That's awesome in WrestleMania. Like, it's fun to watch The Rock looking off in the distance and not realizing that The Undertaker is behind him. Not quite as charming. Not quite as charming when it's happening in a real NFL game. At least not quite as funny.
At least quite as fun when you're doing it.
Hey,
back into the line of scrimmage. They snap the ball. It's back to the line of scrimmage.
Not even looking.
Not even looking.
Very funny if this is not another teen movie. Not great when it's your favorite NFL team. Maybe not.
So unbelievable. The tip play and
unbelievable. And then you run in, and then you realize, like, who was supposed to be where? Like, why is that guy Noah Brown? Why is there nobody around him? And you're like, oh, well, the guy who was supposed to be on him was Tyreek Stevenson, who knocked the ball up into the air because he's 5'8". And you're like, that the series of transactions that you would have to get to for that play to happen, it just never. And you're like, I've never seen that before in my life. And I'm like, I've actually seen that before in my life. When I was a youngster, I was a ball boy for Canyon High School in Anaheim, California. And we were beating Orange. I was the water boy. I was like 8 or 9. No, I was probably 11. So there was a kid, our all Century League guy named Brandy Nunez, wore 99 as a receiver, just an absolute badass. Okay. And Orange High School is trying to do a Hail Mary, but like it's a high school football game. So it's to the 30-yard line. Right. And there's a scrum of players. And then all of a sudden, Randy Nunez comes out of nowhere, hits the ball up to just some dumb Orange kid. And it was a Halloween night, and the guy had Panther paint on his face, catches it, and then has to still run 30 yards. So it's even worse. He took it to the house. And the stands at Fred Kelly Stadium emptied. And everybody, and like, I never want to witness this again in my life. Didn't have to for another 30 plus years, but still
in the NFL.
For my favorite team.
Our audience, is there some fool's gold with Washington? I know they came back and won the game, but a lot of people think that this is Daniels MVP. Washington's a team of destiny. Is there some fool's gold going on there with the Commanders?
Favorites at the Giants this week.
I do like the team like when you see stuff like that happen. Like, it was fun for Dan Quinn not to be on the losing end of a giant collapse for a change. Right. So that had to be nice for him. I don't blame you for feeling that way. I really don't. And I see it too. The things that I saw, and I hesitate to see this because I don't want to spend too much time because the Commander fans, God bless them for all the engagement they're giving to my posts. By like, we're not even talking about you, bro. We're talking about the Broncos. Like, you're an idiot. Okay, fine. And listen, I'm sorry that you're giving me more engagement. Twitter hates that. I will say that we've seen this from Cliff Kingsbury in the past, where his teams start off really well and fall off the cliff, so to speak. Cliff. So if I am I look at this Giants team and I look at Dexter Jackson or Dexter Lawrence, players like that, they're good defensively. What you can't do against Washington, I think the Bears fell into this trap, and I hope they don't do it against the Cardinals this week. you can't play wide. Like, you got to be willing to concede that there are going to be times where Jaden gets outside and let him do his thing. But I think we've also seen too, and this is like, I'm not endorsing violence or anything like that, but like, there were real concerns with his style of play coming into the NFL. Is he going to hold up for an entire 17-game season? And I think that some teams, and like the Bears really started getting to him at the end of the game, which is why I thought at the end, I'm like, I don't know that. And again, he didn't. I don't think he could get the ball to the goal line.
Right.
And so I'm interested to see how other teams play him moving forward. I can't argue. They're 6-2. They found a way to win this game. And all the narratives that we would have been running with as Bears fans or as NFL pundits, it's switched. And it's like, this team's finding ways to win. And there's something about that. We see it every season. There's always some team that seemingly comes out of nowhere who finds ways to win. Is this a sustainable, or are these empty calorie wins, or are you really building to something? I think a couple of years ago, when we were watching the Detroit Lions start to stack wins, they finished their season on the road at Green Bay without a playoff berth on the line for them. They knocked the Packers out of the playoffs, and you're like, you know what? This team is building for something. I need to see the Commanders win some more of these before I'm truly convinced. But again, I don't want to come off like a hater or sour grapes or anything like that. Like, I understand. Like, and if you're a Commanders fan, I'd be like, you're just upset. I'm like, well, partly, yes. Yeah, that's true. I would have preferred to have won that game. But I think
I know you got to get out of here. You got to go get the kids. So
crap. Yeah, that's right. The kids.
Question. Yeah, I answer it real quick.
That's not me.
I know. So you got 30 seconds to a minute. We got another guest coming up. You got to go get the kids. I don't want you to be late. Are the Bears winning in Arizona this week? Are the Bears making the playoffs?
Okay, this is honestly, I don't want to dodge the question. I love this week for the very reason of being able to find out what this team is made of. Do they have the moxie to overcome a play like this? Is the coaching staff going to have the moxie? At least Matt Eberflus, and it took him a couple of days to get to this point, but he did address it today where he said, listen, these problems start with me. And he finally held himself accountable. I wish he did that on Sunday, but unfortunately it took until Wednesday. But I'm going to pick the Bears to win because I'm a biased homer. Okay. If they do not find a way to win this game, I think there's some real legitimate concerns. There's some real legitimate questions. And if you're one of those coaches that's been circling, being like, this would be a team I would love to coach, I think it is. But I will say last year, this team started off 2-6. People were ready to write them off. They finished winning 6 out of their last 7 games. They've won some games. They've stacked some wins. They won 3 games in a row for the first time in forever. They won on the road in Jacksonville, even though it was technically a Bears home game. I'm confident that he's going to do it, but this is going to be very telling for Coach Eberflus and this coaching staff.
Phenomenal. What an appearance. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time.
Awesome. All right. Anytime. Listen, let's do this again. Anytime.
We got the number. Now we know when we can get you.
Please, yeah. Yeah, Wednesdays. Yeah, whenever. Let me know.
Tremendous. He is Adam Rank, the NFL Network, joining us here on the Bostonian versus the Book. We go from football to horse racing to a guy who I can't wait to talk to. He is Mike Smith. He's 59 years old, and he's going to be telling us all about the Breeders' Cup. Mike, Matt, and Dave, thank you for joining us. Appreciate your time. We're going to the Breeders' Cup for the first time. What are we going to see on Friday?
Oh, you're gonna have a blast, man. It's quite an event, man. It's kind of like the Olympics, man. You're gonna see the best of the best in the whole world. I mean, Japan has I think maybe 12 runners, maybe more. England in Europe has about 28 or 29 runners. I mean, you're gonna see some of the greatest race horses and jockeys and trainers that you've ever seen.
How different is it, Mike, to have all of these international horses? I mean, you've been at this a long time. You've seen and done a lot. And, we talked to Todd yesterday. We're going to talk to Randy Moss tomorrow. And we're talking about this international influence into horse racing. How has that affected either what you do or just the level of the racing?
well, it just shoots the level up even higher, right? So it's not just the best in America anymore. I mean, traveling's gotten so much easier for everyone to travel from everywhere. Just these flights that they have for these horses are just incredible nowadays, man. They just zip around like we do.
Wow.
And they're here the next day and ready to roll right off the plane. I mean, it's unbelievable. Whereas back in the day you didn't have all that, but it's just taking the Breeders' Cup and the whole sport to another level now. Getting the opportunity to have people come in from everywhere like we do.
Mike, I'm 47. You've been riding for 42 years. I lived in Omaha before I got there after Exarban closed. Oh no, where'd he go?
I don't know.
Oh no. Did we lose Mike?
Mike, come back.
Did you get a notification?
I don't know. He must have.
Let's see if we get it back on.
I don't know.
We'll see if he pops back in.
If he comes back in.
I want to know about Exarban. He actually rode at Exarban. I've never talked to anybody. At this track. It's Nebraska backwards. Exarban.
I know. Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, it's Nebraska backwards. Exarban.
That was going to be my question. I wanted to ask him about the,
I got there too late. I mean, Exarban was after I got there. And so I never saw it. It closed before I got to Nebraska because it became Horseman's Park, which is the new course in Omaha. Okay. They have a horse track there. That's where they have a casino there for that. So, all right, we'll see if we can get him back on and see if he can pop back on. That would be great to see. I do not want to miss this conversation, but this is what happens when you get text messages, right? People get. We got to tell people. I guess now it's hey, shut your notifications off. Don't.
Just add that sentence to the email, I guess, right?
Say don't have anybody text you during the show because it's going to kick you off because the conversation was great. So we'll see on this. I mean, think about it. I mean, this is wild, but at 59 years old, Gordie Howe played hockey at 52. George Blanda played in the NFL until 48. Satchel Paige pitched in Major League Baseball at 59, but for one inning in one game. We haven't seen this. A guy at 59 still in professional sports. Doesn't happen.
I mean, when they sent, when we saw, I was reading a bio too, and I was doing a little research this morning, and I was like, this is really going to be fun. I can't wait to talk to this guy. I'm going to ask him, what gets you up in the morning to keep doing this at 59? I cannot wait. So,
I think he just clipped in and clipped out. So I think he's efforting to come on back.
Okay.
How old is Mike Tyson? He's fighting exhibition fights, though. I mean, I think it's Manny Pacquiao, probably a better example of that is Manny Pacquiao, who I think is in his early 50s, who is still boxing professionally.
Oh, I don't think so.
Manny? Oh, Manny just fought a pro fight. Yeah. Manny Pacquiao's fighting.
In his 50s? Oh, was George Foreman 50?
Yep. Oh, yeah. Foreman definitely was in his 50s. How old is Manny Pacquiao? Manny Pacquiao is currently, he's 45.
Okay.
So Manny Pacquiao's 45, so he's 2 years younger than me. Foreman, how old was George Foreman with his last fight? Foreman currently is, 75 currently. He's not fighting anymore, obviously.
Right.
How many fights?
Foreman's last fight was, I think it was 50.
48 when he retired, 1997. Yeah. 76
the goal
and
was
5.
To try to get to 50. That's what it was. Yeah.
To fight to 50?
Yeah, he was trying to do that. Yeah. I don't know.
Mike is here, but his camera's not on yet. So once we get his camera turned back on, then we'll put him on.
All right.
It's one of those trickier things. Why is it? He's turning his camera on and off. I don't know why his camera's not turning on. That's weird. It's the first time I've seen that from a cell phone. Cell phone normally works in 2 seconds.
Right.
But it's black. It's.
I don't know. Should we send him a new link?
No, it would be the same link.
Okay.
That would be the same link to have for that. So we don't need to send him that, but hopefully if it clicks back in, he's there. It's just I don't want to put him on. I don't think maybe if he can hear us, we can talk to him audio wise.
I don't know.
Without a camera. Want me to try that?
It's worth a shot.
Let's see if we can
do it.
If we can do that. Mike, can you hear us?
Yes, I hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So I'll put something up on the screen and you can go ahead and talk to us.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Everything just shut off for some reason.
I was going to ask you about Exarban, and if you have any memories of that track, because I lived in Omaha for 5 years. I heard about Exarban like crazy. What was that track like when you were riding there?
And I'm telling you, it's so sad that track isn't running now. It was beautiful. I mean, absolutely one of my favorite places to go, believe it or not. It was like a hidden gem, man. I mean, that track was absolutely wonderful. Really, really was. I have a lot of great memories there. It's kind of where I cut my teeth, to be honest with you. That's kind of where I got going. I spent my rookie year there.
So I have to ask you, and I'm sure people ask you this all the time. I'm 54, Matt's 47. I know how my body hurts sometimes, and I ain't doing nothing other than trying to go for a really good walk or something every day. You're riding horses and you're still doing it. What gets you up in the morning, Mike, to get to that track and do those workouts in the morning and then get to the races and show up at Breeders' Cup and compete with guys at literally half your age?
You know, it's like that great song that the great Toby Keith wrote just before he passed, man. Don't let the old man in, man. You can't let him in, man. Honestly, and you know, the love for the sport, the love of riding a great horse is, man, it so far overcomes all those little aches and pains. And believe me, I've broken some bones in my body before. I've got about, you name it, I've probably broken at least. And we just still get up and we just that rush, man. That there's nothing like riding a racehorse going 50 miles per hour, beating everybody and the best in the world. There's nothing like it.
What are your workouts like? Like, how do you keep yourself fit, in shape, and on weight?
Yeah, so I have personal trainers. We're a lot like a lot of other athletes. We just can't put a lot of weight on. So it's not like we're eating to bulk up like you would if you're in the NFL or something like that. You're training more for endurance, balance, and core. I got personal trainers. I work out 5 days a week. I do my own cardio. I usually run anywhere from 15 to 20 miles a week. And I've been doing that since I was in my early 20s, and I just made it a way of life. And I honestly actually really enjoy doing it, and that's what keeps me going. I'm 58 now. Everyone says 59, but I'm actually 58.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. We don't need to add another number to it. That's right. I totally get that, Mike. I've been watching horse racing. I mean, from the time I was back in Pittsburgh growing up, I went to the track with guys and, learned the terms. And then when I made it to Vegas, the race book and the sports book, it's all one. And you had to learn a lot about horse racing. But I've been listening to people call you Money Mike Smith for years in the book. What is your favorite, either good or bad, Mike, that people call you that because I know you can hear everything when you're out there, but people like to take shots at you guys. People like to give you praise. What has someone called you maybe in the past or something that made you either giggle or you laugh or you like the nickname?
Well, you're dealing with a lot of gamblers, man. So you can call every nasty name you could possibly off, man. But really have, man. I'm trying to think of one that just to be honest with you, half the time I do laugh. I don't let them know that they kind of got to me, even if they did. On a whole, I would have to say the people that I've come and encountered with or in touch with are all pretty good. I mean, they might have lost money and been a little, pissed off, but
of course.
Yeah, they were all really, really pretty good. And my nicknames come and go. And Money Mike came in a few years ago. Bob Baffert called me that a while back in an interview. I think I just won the Travers for him. He said, "Man, this guy's just Money Mike, man. When the money's down on him, and that's just what it, and it stuck. All the reporters wrote it down, and next thing you know, everyone's calling me Money Mike. And my mom said, "Well, I want to see this money that you."
Talking to Mike Smith here. In terms of getting on a elite horse, and do you know after the first couple of rides, when did you know that Justify or Zenyatta or one of the other horses that you have run that has been so successful? How many rides did it take for you to go, okay, this horse is different. This horse can do something very special?
So look, they're a lot like our athletes are today. Like when Kobe came out out of high school, dude, everyone knew that this kid was going to be special. So when these horses come out of their training, where they get the foundation, where they get broken, a lot of these training centers, these farms, they grade them over there. So they've already come out with either a high number or a low number, or this one's going to take some time. It's going to take some time for this. You ain't going to see this horse at 3. You're going to see this one at 4 or 5 or whatever. And some are just more forward. So they'll get an A, they'll come in saying, man, this one, and a lot of that's depending on how they're bred as well. But yeah, you knew Justified came out of the farm with an A+, dude. I mean, he looked like LeBron James coming into. Yeah, I mean, that's why he was able to do that. No horse had won the Kentucky Derby without racing at 2 since a horse called Apollo, right? So the Apollo curse was like a 38-year or 48-year, where no horse had ever done that, and he's the first horse to do it since Apollo. And the reason being is he was just bigger, better, stronger, and smarter than that whole group that year. He really was. He's if you saw him in person, you'd be like, man, you understand why he is who he is.
Mike, do you guys look at the odds? Are you aware of like the morning line odds on all this stuff? Because I mean, there's so many people. There's been guys selling those tipster sheets when everybody walks into the track, and obviously the gambling on it is such a big part of the sport. But I mean, you're trying to just win the race, right? Like, I mean, it don't matter if the morning line guy made you 8-1, 3-1, or do you feel the pressure when you're the odds-on favorite? You're like, man, I got the horse, like, and everybody knows it. Like, are you aware of it when you're going into a big racing weekend like this, weekend at the Breeders' Cup?
Well, you're certainly aware of the chances that the odds give you, right? I mean, that the past performance, of course, has already been there, so you can't take that out of the. What people don't know is how well that horse is doing at the time. And once they're at that level, look, it's like being in the NFL. You could pick the Kansas City against the Jets, right? Well, you're going to say Kansas City's got to be 1-5, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yes, but the Jets
could win.
Football team, and they could beat them on that day. They could upset them if things go right. They got that kind of talent on their team as well. So that's the same way with racehorse. Even though you're 20-1, if you've made it to that point, you belong.
Huh. Mike, we hear superstitions all the time. Bet the gray, bet the horse that goes to the bathroom before are there any like real superstitions that jockeys have that you have when it comes to horse racing and what may happen on the track?
Yeah, some of the guys are extremely superstitious. I'm not. I say a prayer, man, and then I leave it up to God after at that point. But there is something to a horse using the restroom before it runs, man. I'm telling you, just imagine that as a human, right? Wouldn't you feel a whole lot better, man, if you've gotten rid of all that before you take off running? So there's got to be something to that one.
I love that myself. I used to when I still can't get on the ice. If I ever played hockey, I couldn't go on if I didn't go to the bathroom before. So I totally get it, Mike. Last one from me, sir. And again, thank you for joining us. Del Mar is one of the nicest places, tracks I've ever seen, I've ever been. I remember the first time I got there, I was overwhelmed, and I went to that place up on the bluff and had the fish tacos, and then came down, spent the whole day, and drove back to Vegas. We did a day trip. It was amazing. This is Matt's first trip to Del Mar, and I'm trying to tell him, like, I don't think you understand. This is way different than going to, like, the Arkansas Derby or these other places. Is Del Mar one of your favorite places to run and compete in horse racing?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, when you get down here, you'll see what he's talking about, man. It's an absolutely gorgeous race. It's literally on the ocean. Yeah. When we just before we head for home, you get a big glimpse of the ocean. So I mean, that in itself is just incredible. But yeah, you're gonna love the town. The town is a great town. The restaurants are out of this world, man. You're going to have a blast here.
Last question for me. In terms of the track itself, Del Mar, fast track, what's it like to be on a horse on that track?
I would put the turf and the dirt will be more to the fast side. So it'll cater to speed horses a bit. but not that a horse that comes from behind can't close. They certainly can, but they're quick. The main track is just beautiful right now. It's got a lot of bounce to it. It's wonderful. It's safe. Turf course looks like your putting green. I mean, it's
baby.
Ground's going to be quick. Which could help the American horses a little bit because most European horses do come with a run, on the grass. But then we say that and they just kick our butt anyway. A lot of the time, most of the time on the grass. Our biggest strength against the world would be dirt. We're exceptional. We're really well on the dirt. We're good on the dirt.
Good stuff. Mike, thank you for the time. Really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. Best of luck this weekend to you.
Thank you, Mike.
Hey, thank you, guys. You bet.
That is the jockey Mike Smith joining us here on the Bostonian versus the Book. We apologize for the technical difficulties, but really glad to get him on and have him be a part of the program today. That was really, really fun to have him and be a part of it, talking horse racing with us.
I can't wait to even just say after we get off the show, like, how was the show today? Oh, we talked to a guy who's won the Kentucky Derby, won the Triple Crown, rode some of the best racehorses of all time. And, oh, by the way, he's 59. He's going to be riding horses in the races on Friday when we're there at the track Saturday. This is going to be fun because our days have been pretty much made for us with the Saturdays.
Right.
Because we're both over the top excited about college football. And, we help the admin do the picks and compile all that stuff. I'm watching races on Saturday. Like, I'm watching some horse racing on Saturday, 100%. After we're going to be there Friday, that's now in the rotation.
100%.
Like, I'm hyped up.
Without a doubt.
I'm still not a horse guy, but I'm hyped up about the races.
Yeah, so that's gonna be fun. So really, I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. That's very cool. I kind of have like uncovered this whole new thing with as I was trying to fix Mike's video.
What did you do?
What did you do? I don't know. I hit something funky that's making this look all kind of wild. I don't know.
How about this?
I don't know if you guys like that new way of doing it.
I don't know. Now you froze. So whatever you hit the freeze button. So hit the unfreeze button, snap your fingers, clap your hands. Everybody.
I don't know. It's
come
new.
back, Jack. Okay.
It's new. So for today, at least it may go back tomorrow, but at least for today, this is a, that's a different look for us in terms
Everybody
of putting
looks so small.
Right. It's tiny. It's smaller, but I don't know. I may like it a little better. I don't know. It's kind of, it gets really kind of big when it goes on there, but, I don't know. Let's see if the banners look differently. And the banners look different too.
Oh, you've changed the font. It's a font change.
Well, it's a font change, but it's also a color change. Like, see that blue on the side? We never had the blue on the side before, so I don't know.
I like blue.
What do you think about that? That's it fits the book color, so it fits you on that. But thank you to Mike Smith. Friday live, 1:00 Pacific time, 4:00 Eastern from the Breeders' Cup. Del Mar will be located. Tomorrow we'll have Randy Moss, not that Randy Moss, the horse racing Randy Moss, on the show with us tomorrow, talking more about the Breeders' picks and plays. But that was awesome to get Mike Smith on. Apologies again.
We're going to have Adam Bjorn on too on Prime Thursday.
Right,
Adam's coming on with the card. I mean, he said he's got plays.
Yeah, so he'll get us who to play. So, all right, Indiana's 8-0. They have won and covered 7 straight games. The last team to do that was Alabama of 2020. This doesn't happen. 7 straight wins and covers in college football doesn't happen. They're 5-0 in the Big Ten. They won 3 Big Ten games the last 3 years combined.
Signetti.
7-5 on the road, laying 7.5 on the road against Michigan State.
Scary.
Right?
It's weird to say, but it's scary.
The books are daring you to take Indiana. They're like, go ahead, take Indiana.
No. 7.5. We're dangling that Michigan State carrot.
You think that the Michigan State carrot? The hook scares me.
Nah.
The hook at Indiana scares me.
Yeah, we want you to. Take Michigan State. Take the hook. They're not going to cover that. If they win, they only win by 7. If you use that on another show, just again say thank you to the BVB. That's all, because you're going to hear it. You're going to hear it the rest of the week. Indiana's been besmirched as much as any team that's in this position. 5-0 in the Big Ten. Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
Give me it. I'll take the Hoosiers. Penn State has lost 6 straight games as a home dog. Their last win, however, was against Ohio State in 2016. Buckeyes laying 3.5 points on the road. But if you're a Buckeye fan, hold on. Ohio State in top 10 matchups have covered just 2 times in their last 10 games. And since 2018, they are 6-14-2 against the number.
I went on that show in D.C. yesterday on Monumental, and they asked me specifically about this game.
Yep.
And I said, here's what I'm going to say about this game, but take everything that I say with a grain of salt, because I want this one bad. Like I just, as a Penn State guy,
yeah,
I am sick and tired of losing to the Buckeyes. That game in 2016 was no, I'm trying to count back the years. The third kid was already made. Okay. That was a great night. It was a great, great night. I remember it like it was yesterday. Everybody in the book at Ohio State, they end up winning the game. We were at bowling. I was still I was still bowling, yeah. And everybody was rooting for it. Was a tremendous night. Penn State can win this football game.
Mm-hmm.
They absolutely can.
Will they?
I think yes, but again, take everything that I say the rest of this week with a complete grain of salt. I'm completely biased. I'm fan hat on. I know why the number's 3.5. I don't know how much higher it's going to get. That's the perfect number. Okay. 3.5, 4, 3.5, 4. We don't have to go to 3 because they're going to lay 3.5 now. Because, like, I told you what Maddie said. Lindemann. I just said, what's your number? I'll go first. I'm making it 3. And he goes, I made it 6. I already laid 3. And I just sent back a text that said, rude. And I've asked 6. A couple other people. I mean,
6.
The quarterback question.
Okay.
If you get automatic backup, it hurts in perception wise. But I mean, a week of practice, knowing, I think he's going to be fine.
Army and Iowa State are both undefeated straight up. They're both coming off of a bye. Both failed to cover their last game before the bye. Stay with me for a second. Teams who are undefeated off of a bye, who also failed to cover in their game before the bye. How about the total? 50, 34-1 to the over the next game.
Man.
Air Force and Army, totals 42.
Okay.
Iowa State, Texas Tech, 56.5. I like Army Air Force to go over.
Okay.
Army's been scoring a ton of points.
Right.
That's an over. You want to play that trend. 50, 34-1.
Made my brain hurt.
Yes, Army team total has been an ATM machine, Covey. You're right. Iowa schools are not dead to me, the juice. I got wins, so Iowa State wins, they cash, and Iowa's quick behind them, trying to get to 8 or 9 wins for Iowa.
All right. We'll keep an eye on that one. Those are very confusing trends and very deep
easy trends. No, they're bye weeks, they're undefeated. Bye week, they didn't cover the game before the bye. After the bye, they go over. At that cover, they go over. Iowa State over, don't mind it. Team total Army over, don't mind it at all. All good plays. Last question or last topic before we let go of the replay, folks. Any thoughts on Marc-Andre Fleury's last game against the Pittsburgh Penguins last night?
I loved Minnesota in that spot. I mean, and over. I mean, how many times we got to say the Penguin games are going over?
Right.
It should have been 7. No, I saw a lot of videos yesterday, and I got more to watch today.
Tribute.
Yeah, he meant a lot to a lot of people. Like he's a fan favorite, and then he ended up coming here, which was cool because the kids got to like him. So it was a fun thing to share. That I had moved out of Pittsburgh by the time he got there, but it was still fun to watch him go and grow. And when I would go back and go to games, it was always fun to see him in net. And then got to see him here. We went to watch practice just to watch him practice.
Right.
He was a fun dude to have on a team. It was cool. I don't know. Wetzel asked me last night on TV, is it weird when there's a lot of people in the stands cheering for the other team because it's got a guy that played a lot of years on, like,
right. We see it here. I mean, we're used to it in Vegas.
That's what I said. I was like, listen, I don't know if it's because I'm out of that pocket of the Northeast, but like, it's okay. It's fine. There was people that saw him play for like 10 years, 12 years, whatever it was. It was fun to see them, clap when they did the video montage. He got the #1 star of the game. Crosby and Malkin came out to tap his pads and tap the ice when he got it. I mean, he was like all emotional and stuff. I loved it.
Before I let you go, interesting point. Should we have a guest picker for Better to Book It at some point, like on Roll Call Friday, like they do in Game Day? Bring a guest picker.
Not a bad idea.
Don't mind that.
Play with that idea.
Might think about that idea. I don't mind that idea. Doing a Better to Book It, but bringing a third party, a third person to come in and do Better to Book It. That's not a horrible idea there, Stevie. Yeah. Don't hate that. If you guys are with us live on YouTube and Twitter, do not move. If you're watching on the replay on SiriusXM or listening on SiriusXM or watching on SportsGrid TV, thank you for being here. We're back tomorrow on a prime time Thursday. A lot of horse talk tomorrow. We'll get to Randy Moss and Adam Bjorn's coming on. He's got his plays and thoughts for the Breeders' Cup, which will be on Friday. The rest of you guys, don't move. Bonus time starts now. From here into Better to Book It. I got to figure out if I like this new font or not. I'm not sure if I like it or not. It's kind of small, but I like the blue. I don't know. I'll figure that. I gotta play with this. This is all. I didn't know this. I realized I could do all this. Like, this is all new. This is a whole new feature for this, because like you could do bubble. You can do classic.
Oh, I love that.
You can do that's what I normally use. This is what I normally use. Yeah. And so we normally use it. We normally use it like that.
Right.
So that's the norm.
That blue though, that's pretty sharp. It's
on the left hand side versus the center. So I don't know. We'll figure something out in the future how to play around with this, but it's new. Jacksonville State tonight, catching 2.5 points tonight.
Bet it.
Good game. Oh, we're betting it because I hit last night.
Hit
it last night. I told you Louisville. I'm sorry, Louisiana outright wins the game. Same situation. Jacksonville State has won and covered 4 straight games.
Okay.
1 and covered 4. 1 and 5 Liberty ATS. Just had a horrible loss to Kennesaw State.
Yeah, they did.
Horrible loss. 20-point favorites. Lost the game. Jacksonville State beat Kennesaw State by 24 points. Killed them. Give me the dog on the road. Plus 2.5.
That's fine. Bet it.
Celtics team total over 119.5 tonight against the Pacers on the road against Indiana.
Wow.
Indiana's, again, a horrific defensive team. Big bounce back spot for the Boston Celtics offense tonight.
What do you mean? They don't need a big bounce back spot. They just need to score a little bit more. They had a good game the other night.
First half was bad.
Yeah, they didn't go the first half over.
Jalen and Jansen were not
good. Highest total on the board today.
Mm-hmm. Because Pacers, I don't like
5.5.
I don't want the over because the Pacers aren't going to score.
And it opened somewhere at 231. Whoops. That was a whoops. Somebody made that one way too low. Yeah, this will probably go. Everybody's playing, right? I mean, that's a fair question to ask. Yeah, everybody's playing. He's good.
First half is 61.5. Extra better to book it. I bet that too.
Yeah, that probably goes over, right? I mean, that's the line, right? 62, we said 58 to 62.
Yep.
And then pause, think about it, maybe. Right. But like, I think you keep playing it in that window.
Yeah, they scored 53 points in the game against Milwaukee when they didn't score for the first 4 minutes. Like, this got to a really slow start, and they still scored 53 points. So I don't mind. I don't mind that. Yes, DeJuice, I bet this already. Horford under 6.5 rebounds. Yes. Don't understand that number. Horford's had 5 or fewer rebounds in all 4 games. I have no clue why. It's at 6. It's at 6.5. It's one of the weirder numbers I've seen in a while on that. I am getting ready for some college basketball with these football picks. Last night, Holy Valley. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we're going. Look, football games, college games. I love betting college. I can't wait to a chance to bet college football versus betting baseball. I'm betting college football every darn time. Although I do think the game goes over tonight. So I think we're at 7.5, and that game goes over tonight. Favorite thing about today is what?
Hold on. I have a bet it or book it for you.
Okay.
Vegas is playing at the Kings tonight.
Mm-hmm.
It's minus 125. The Kings lost in San Jose last night.
Yep.
San Jose was minus 290 on the road for the Kings, and they come home, and it's almost a pick 'em. Knights minus 125. Bet it or book it.
Book it.
Really? Kings win?
Yeah, it's bottom line. Sell high in the Knights, buy low on the Kings. Vegas 5-0 win against Calgary. Last game out, now on the road. Kings with a horrible loss last night. They bounce back. They win the game tonight.
Yeah, I think the Knights win. The other one is New Jersey starts a road trip out of Vancouver. The game's a dead pick 'em.
Give me Vancouver.
I like New Jersey.
I'll take the Jets.
Right, there we go.
I think the Jets.
Two hockey plays for better to book it. That's good.
If you want hockey tonight, I stay hockey tonight.
Favorite thing about today,
Mm.
while we're talking, I get the text from Jessica. The shop called.
Oh, God.
It's a burial.
No.
It's a burial. I didn't even ask. I said, just
The
tell them to
engines-
fix everything. I don't know what happened. I don't know, but there's some note. I got to get off the show here, check some list of things. I don't know. I said, just tell them to fix it. I don't care. If that's what it costs, that's what it costs. I don't care. We'll figure it out. I'll do more shows. We're waiting on some other things to happen. Maybe it's supposed to happen. I'm just going to do what happens with the shows and just give it all to her because it's cool.
You mean burial in terms of the cost, not burial, not
Oh,
burial.
no. It can be fixed. Everything
The
can be
car's
fixed.
not dead. Okay.
Oh, yeah. No.
The engine didn't seize.
The engine did not seize.
Okay.
I asked the guy, Bill, an old man behind the counter when I got there, and he put in a phone number, and he's like, I have it under Jessica. I said, yeah, that's my wife. He goes, okay, I don't remember you. And I said, I've been here a couple times.
It doesn't matter. I don't remember.
No. He goes, I just don't remember face. I remember faces. I don't remember yours. I'm like, that's all right. That's fine. So
good.
The
Thanks.
Caravan is up on the shelf for a couple days. We'll get it fixed. It's fine. But you just really never know. Again, we have 3 guests today. I'm texting Adam at 10 o'clock at night from Buffalo Wild Wings. He gets yes. We get Jeremy's help. We get Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith on. We got Ant, who's at the game last night with his kid, all this stuff. And I'm out talking to the tow truck guy this morning about getting his van up on a flatbed and then going to the shop and having Bill tell me he don't recognize me. And I said, how about listening to the show? Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And I got to go give him.
You got lawyers on the East Coast following your bets. Bet in Jersey, Dave. There you go.
Hey, that's Chicago Kristen. That's great to have. Listen, I don't know what she's doing, but we're going to back her bid as she goes to be a judge or something in Chicago. Right. We're coming to Chicago, Kristen. You're going to get this thing worked out. Now I got to do another road show. So ask for the big bag. We'll come to Chicago to the barn and hang out. I'll come to the courtroom. I'll sit with you in the courtroom. Just watch you work. It'd be great.
What I love, my favorite thing about today is that we can now pull off 3 guests in one show. Like that. There was a point in time when that was a Herculean fucking effort. That like just
one guest was
a fucking was literally like we had to like one guest was hard as fuck for us to do it. 2 guests was like forget it, impossible, can't be done. We just did 3. We just did 3 guests, all big name guests, by the way, right? We had 3.
Well, I mean, Anthony's in outside in Pennsylvania, outside of New York.
And went to the game last night. Went to game 6,
and then we go to Adam, who's out in L.A.
Yep.
He's
NFL Network,
right? Orange County, L.A. And then down to San Diego to Mike Smith, jockey. 3 different genres, people. I mean, like, I don't know. We pulled it off again. It's just, it's fantastic. I don't know.
It's October. Okay. So we're approaching the anniversary of story. This show was formed in October, right after G2E. This show was formed and we started it in December of 2021. So like,
that's right.
So the idea that when we started this show, doing one guest was tough. And we just pulled off national TV, a book guy who was in New York, who went to the game last night, and a Hall of Fame jockey. Yeah.
And throw in the NFL Network guy who's
I'm right
here talking about football. I mean, it just does.
So just to give you an idea as to where this show has gone. Favorite thing about today is that happens now. That we can do all of this now easily, successfully.
Can you do everybody a favor and change that fucking battery in the?
I don't know how. I literally. I was told I went and had a conversation with somebody and they're like, well, I'm going to charge you to come fix it. I was like, all right, I'll fix it when I figure out. Cause it's not one of those, it's not a battery. The whole house is wired.
Did you change the batteries?
Where? The house? No, the house. There is no battery. It's
Yes,
wired to
there
the
is.
house. Where's the battery? It's wired to the house. Where's the battery? You tell me.
All right. So
I have it
listen to me.
hanging.
Listen
I
to
have
me.
it
I'm going to tell you
hanging
a
off
story.
the ceiling.
This is story time. Okay. So on Sunday, this past week, I'm supposed to go on the air with Moose.
Okay.
At 7 a.m. Pacific. I wake up at 6 and the fucking thing is beeping just like yours. And I'm going crazy.
I hit the button. It says hold the button to shut it off. I set up the whole house. All eight alarms. Okay. I was like, okay, I'm done.
So this is exactly what happens at 6 a.m. on Sunday.
No.
Okay. So I go, this has to fucking stop. I'm going on the air at 7.
Right.
I have to get this to stop. Now, when I went to West Virginia and lived in that godforsaken place they put me in to be the director, this happened a week in, and I couldn't get it to stop. I'm on FaceTime with Jessica going, look, I changed the battery. I did this. I did that. So rather than wake everybody up, there's a 9-volt battery in the damn thing.
No, I promise you, I've pulled it down. There is nothing. It is wired to the house.
Okay. There's a battery backup. Listen.
Where?
There's a little lever on the side of it that turns and a battery goes in it. So I take the course of action to change the battery in the one in my room. Okay. I close it back up. I go downstairs. I accomplish something. I come back upstairs. It's still beeping. I want to take a hammer to it. I hit the button to reset everything.
And it goes
the
off.
whole house up.
Yeah, right.
Grandma comes running out, screaming, "What's going on? House off!" Calls Jessica. Jessica comes and yells at me, "Mom, it's Dave. He did this." Screaming. And I go, listen, I'm going on the air in 15 minutes. I don't want to cancel. I said, we get a nice pop. I'm on in New York. It's a big station.
Yeah.
Can you please fix
it?
She gets on a ladder. She opens it up. She goes, "You put the battery in wrong, Jagoff." I said, "What?" She goes, "You had to turn it this way. Watch." Boom. Puts the battery in, turns it, pushes the button. I sat there for 5 minutes praying it would go off again. It
didn't
never
go off.
went off. No. She changed them all.
See, I agree. The Jews, they're all hardwired. Mine's hardwired. It's not battery. It's all hardwired. My house is hardwired. The old school had batteries. Mine's hardwired.
My house is 3 years old.
I know, but
brand new built.
How do they put it in? Yes, I can hear it too. I've been hearing it like crazy. All right, well, maybe you're right. I'm gonna go see if you're right. I'm gonna go pull it. It's hanging off the ceiling right now. It's been hanging for 2 days. 2 days.
Mr. Anderson's watching a show with his dad. Pap, I thought it was his pacemaker. Sorry, Mr. Anderson.
We'll figure it out. Thank you to the guests. Adam Rake was tremendous. Mike Smith, thank you for being here. I mean, SportTrade, you guys are phenomenal. Anthony and the guys, Pucci, thank you for coming on. That was phenomenal. We're back tomorrow for Thursday. Primetime Thursday happening tomorrow. A lot of horse stuff coming tomorrow. Randy Moss and Adam Bjorn coming on for the Breeders' Cup on a Thursday, primetime Thursday with BVB.